Cry Freedom Soundbite number 35, Monday the 23rd of October 2017. Well, it's the start of yet another week. How they fly by so quickly, huh? I had actually recorded something to put out on Sunday the 22nd that I was going to put out yesterday that I never got around to, and I take a lot of things that happen in my life now I take as signs in that it wasn't meant to, for whatever reason. I was going on a bit in it about the system and the powers that be and the different viewpoints on all of this that we can take up and the different paths, and I've just decided to re-record it because I'm feeling in a slightly different frame of mind today, and it wasn't a negative post, not by any stretch, but I just want to put things in a slightly different way. Everything for a reason. I should really be doing a lot of reading at the moment. I've got so much to read, as I keep saying, but I think part of my inner being has said to me that this isn't going to happen until I'm in this place where I need to be able to do it without distraction. And I think that's why I'm finding it difficult to concentrate at the moment. And there's so much happening out there. I think we're all finding it difficult to concentrate on anything, really. I watched this film and I went through Netflix briefly, and one title caught my eye because everything is numbers at the moment, and it was called 1922. Obviously the 22 was quite big, and it was the 22nd, so I thought, okay, I'll give this one a go. And then I saw that it was by Stephen King, so, well, right away you know what you're going to get, don't you? He's a miserable bugger, isn't he? It's hardly going to leave you feeling warm and glowing inside. But I knew that, but I was intrigued, so I watched it anyway. Well, what can I say? For those that have watched it, they'll know what I mean. Okay. It starts off about this couple on a farm with a son in America on a 100-acre farm, and I thought, this is a good topic, you know, for me, very relevant at the moment. And it just turns out to be this most miserable, energy-lowering film you could possibly watch. Essentially, in a nutshell, and I'm sorry if I spoil it for anybody, but don't watch it, guys. It's about a guy who is on this farm, and his wife decides she wants to move because she's had enough of farm life and she wants to go back to the city, and he doesn't want to in any way, shape or form. And she said that when she does this, because the money I think is hers, a lot of it was her father's farm, she wants to take the son with her, and he didn't want this to happen, but she was adamant, and so they have these continued arguments, and there's a really awful atmosphere there. So he starts having this cunning plan in that he's going to kill her, and he starts to involve his son in this and starts to tell his son why they have to do this. And it's then transpires that the two of them go up and kill this poor woman after she's had a few drinks. They've sort of they've given her false hope in that they're all going to move together and it's all going to be great. And so she has a few drinks, she gets a bit merry and ends up a bit tiddly and ends up in bed sleeping this off. And while this is happening, the two of them get up there and essentially go about in a very clumsy way to cut this poor woman's throat and kill her. And then the husband throws her down this old well, looks like an old big well shaft. So then he decides to cover up the evidence. He kills this poor cow and puts it down the hole. He sort of throws it down this big shaft as well, and has to shoot this poor cow, which is now covering her body. Anyway, it gets worse, and I'm not even going to go through the whole film, but it just goes from bad to worse. Total, not one bit of radiant hope in the whole thing. So there you go. So that was what I went to sleep on last night, but strangely enough, I actually slept better than usual. So don't know what that says, but read from that what you will. So yesterday I went through a little process and I just go with what comes to me now, because I'm starting to trust myself a lot more, and I know when I'm meant to do something, so I just go with it now. And I said yesterday, one of the biggest stigmas that people have is their fear of what other people think of them, and I'm kind of leaving that one way behind. It's not quite gone yet, but compared to what I used to be like, that one is such not a priority with me now. It came to me that I wanted to do, if for some reason yesterday felt important, and I don't know if it was the date or what, but there was something about yesterday given everything else that's been happening around us. The day before, I'd been reading about orange, the colour orange, and its huge importance on a lot of things that are going on. It's very important within certain echelons, shall we say, of control. And, well, we had an orange sky for a whole day practically the other day, so, you know, I rest my case. So I was reading up on orange, and it came to me that I should do a little ritual of my own yesterday, which was, in essence, I wrote a piece that I wanted to recite back to myself out loud 3 times during that day. So 3 times at each interval, 3 times a day. And essentially it was a passage about not consenting. And if you want to see what I wrote, you can have a look on my Facebook page. I was basically taking back my own power to control my own existence, not giving consent to anything I don't agree with, sailing my own ship home to land where I can freely roam, and banishing anything dark and evil to a big dark pit. That was the essence of what I was reading out. And I did it 3 times. I did it at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock yesterday, and I said it 3 times at each time. And I had put this out on Facebook for anybody else that felt it. Whether anybody did it or not, it doesn't matter, but if you felt the need to, then that, you know, that was obviously something within yourself. So that was something that was a sort of springboard for me, I think, because I seem to have been stagnating a bit lately. I know what my plans are for the future, but I'm finding it hard to sort of push myself to doing what I need to do, and I'm going to have to do it because it's going to happen. But, you know, we all get these times, don't we? It's I think in some ways it's part of the body's mechanism of trying to rest rather than pushing yourself too hard, because I've been tired as well. I haven't been sleeping very well, and I know a lot of people are suffering in that way too. There is a lot of emotional hardship going on out there. I can see it. I read it every day. I understand a lot of people are going through a lot of things, and it's kind of the way it has to be, I feel. And it's never easy, is it? We know that, don't we? Anything that's worth learning and worth taking it forward is never really going to be an easy step. It's going to be something that's going to put you through something. And so we're at that time, aren't we? This month, I think. Again, I'm saying I think. I don't know, but everything points towards this very time being the most key, because everything is changing. And despite the way it looks on the outside, the absolute chaos that's coming at us out there is part of this change, and therefore has to be. So a lot of people are getting very negative about what's going on out there, understandably so, but you have to see it in a different way. You have to stand. This is the absolute essence of standing back from what's going on, because if you don't do that, it will drag you down. And you only have to look at the news. I look now at the BBC News page every so often, and things just come at me, the allegory of it all and what it means. It just shouts out at me now, and I see these numbers and I'm thinking, oh, well, that would be that number. Oh, yes, I bet it would be that. And I'm not seeing it now in a negative way. I used to see it as this sort of, oh my God, what are they doing now? Oh, this is all that, and they're doing this, or that means this. And I've done a lot of that, as lots of us have. But it's really hit me over the last week or so that that's not the way. That's not what that's meant to be. It's all messages, but we're taking it all as negative, which is exactly, if you do believe in this so-called powers that be thing, that's exactly what it would want you to do, isn't it? It would want you to have a sort of a little understanding that takes you totally the negative way, and that just makes it all, compounds it all even worse for you. That's what they'd want. So don't do it. Don't do it. See these messages as things that are there anyway, whether it be black or white. And certainly look at them, because there are codes and keys everywhere. It's all about deciphering. This existence is a deciphering existence to next steps. It is like a big game. It really is like a big Xbox game. You know. So who's controlling that? And you get better at controlling it, don't you? The more experience you have at it, the easier you find it to step up the levels. The easier you find it to control. You get to know more, so you know what's coming around the next bend more. And it's just total allegory, isn't it? And it's just so clear. So absolutely clear to me now. So what I'm saying is, yes, even if you are a little bit aware of things that are going on, you know, you get the stages of people here, don't you? You've got the ones that still ain't got an iota of clarity or clue about what's going on apart from what they think is reality. So that's one plateau. And then it goes up in varying degrees, doesn't it? From a little bit of knowledge, which can be dangerous, to a little bit more, and we're going up. And the idea is the higher up you get, the more at peace with yourself you're supposed to become, and the more calm and knowing you become. So it's not chasing your tail around in all the white noise, it's standing above the white noise, looking down at it and thinking, oh yes, and learning things from that. That's the only way, guys. It's not easy, and I'm still struggling, but I do know that that's the way, and that's what I keep telling myself all the time. So it's about motivating yourself and keeping yourself at that level. And I'm seeing, again, so many people out there struggling right now, and the reason I'm doing all of these things all the time is not because I like the sound of my own voice, because I don't actually. It's because I'm trying to put my little bit out there of my experiences to try and help anyone. Not that I'm any great guru in any way, shape or form ever, but the way that we can help each other is to support each other and share things and share stuff and be open. And that's one of the most important phrases, I think, ever, that. Be open, have an open heart and an open mind, and be willing to use those to help others and yourself, because by helping others you do help yourself. That's the beauty of it. And it feels like I keep seeing the word spider's web and spiders a lot at the moment, and it's a very key thing, obviously, because we live in a great big massive web, essentially. World Wide Web, folks. Welcome to it. And it is a web with lots of sticky little things to tread on and triggers and things, and there's big bag monsters racing for you at the end of some of these sticky triggers. But there's also, you can run away from them and you can find an escape route, and that's, again, part of the game. The one word that keeps coming at me at the moment, and has been for some time now, is the word simplicity. Simplicity is a very important word, because we all tend to overcomplicate everything. We all do it. We overthink things, we over-rationalise things, we sort of over-intellectualise things, we go over and torture ourselves with things, usually things from the past and things that we fear from the future, and this shapes our reality because of those fears that we put ourselves through, because of our own minds. And that's why the word simplicity is so key, because everything's supposed to be simple. It's not supposed to be complicated. We make it complicated for ourselves. So that's why you have to stand back and simplify things. And it works. I've tried it. I don't always remember to do it. No, I do react when I shouldn't. I'm honest, that's what I do, just like the rest of you. But when you do take that simplistic route, things change. They really do. You've just got to trust me on that one. And I trust me. I trust me more and more every single day. There was a friend on Facebook, Alison Gold. She's been putting some good stuff out recently. And she's been talking about finding the real you and living with the real you and accepting the real you and loving the real you. Because we all have certain things that we use as crutches in our lives to get through this so-called awakening. And it is a hard time, and I loved that one of the posts that's going around at the moment, which says the people that think awakening is kind of, sitting on a little cloud, playing your little mouth organ, no. The awakening is lying awake at night, mulling over all these things, driving yourself insane. That's the real awakening. It's not meant to be a pussyfooting around in daisies. That's maybe what you get to when you get through on to the other side, but the actual going through it has to be some sort of trauma, otherwise you're not going to get there. So you have to welcome it. It's not bad, it feels bad, but that's because you allow yourself to let it feel bad. It's actually all good, and it's the way you need to be going. So we have to embrace it, embrace change. David Best would agree. Some good stuff coming from Alison, and it's about cleansing ourselves inside and out. And again, another thing I keep seeing, and things come at you when they're meant to, is alcohol keeps coming at me now. And various different people saying various different things. And that's my vice. I've never smoked. I've had a few puffs on cigarettes. I've never inhaled a cigarette. I've never smoked a joint. I don't do drugs. My little thing is alcohol. And yeah, I do drink too much. And it's something you get into for whatever reason. I don't even know. With me, it was confidence, I think, when I was a kid. I used to use it to... I was so kind of shy as a child that I just used to get so uptight about social occasions, and I was very self-conscious about myself, and I had a big downers on myself, and so I used alcohol to boost my confidence up, and it just sort of goes from there, and it becomes this crutch that's always with you. Quite often works against you, but you don't see that, do you? Until you've got the hangover the next morning. But a few people are realising that, well, a lot more people are seeing now what this actual substance does. And I'm seeing posts about people giving up. And well done, Bessie, by the way. Good for you. She's been a month now without any. And this is my goal. And it's going to be quite easy because where I am going, it's not going to be something that's going to be in my face all the time. And I'm not going to have the money anyway, which is something that's helping me at the moment too now. So, all as is meant. So, I think it's about finding out this is the time to find yourself, to unveil yourself, really. And look at all the points about yourself that you don't like, not with hatred, but look at them with love and see what you need to change within yourself to help you, which in turn will help everybody else. That's the way. Again, never easy, but once the first thing has to be the realisation, doesn't it? And once you've got that part done, the rest just follows. I always want to speak about the people that are out there doing these amazing things because they're the future. You know, this is what's got to catch on now, and this is what everybody's got to take up. Start following your passions, make it something that you really love doing, that's something that is going to make a difference with you and the world. And just to give a quick shout out to two ladies that I really admire out there doing fantastic work and have been for some years. They both know each other as well. So the first one is a lady called Dinah Mason, and I first came across Dinah when she was actually on the TV on a programme, a documentary by Ben Fogle, and it was one of these ones where he follows people in this country that have decided to get back to the country and escape the city system life. And Dinah and her husband Stig and their kids had decided after an inheritance to give up their life in the city, their jobs and everything, and buy some land and start off a small holding, which is what they did. And this programme was following their progress on this great show. I did see it some years ago, and they're still there now, and that they've changed their lives around in that respect. And it's, you know, Dinah put some great posts out about the stuff that they're growing and the experiences that she's having. And another lady who is indeed a friend of Dinah's too, who I knew before, that is a lady called Hen. She calls herself Hen Anderson, a Scottish lady who lives down in Devon. And I first came across Hen many years ago when the badger cull stuff was first coming out, and I was campaigning very strongly against that because it was really something that resonated with me, the wrongness of it, and Hen was too. And I'd known Hen just before that because she'd been very much fighting for our woods and our forests. Save Our Woods was one of the campaigns that Hen ran. She's been doing this for years. She's been living on the land, showing us all how it should be done, and she still is. And she does some incredible posts of the stuff that she grows and the stuff that she experiences. And these are my mentors and where I'm trying to go with my life now, because it's the way. It is the way. Show me the way. So great ladies. Hen, Dinah, thank you so much for your much inspiration for me and strength. And carry on with everything you're doing because you're so right. Also to give a shout out to Bajerski. I've known Mark now for a few years too. All these people I've never met, by the way. These are all virtual friends, but they feel closer to me than a lot of people around me. And this is why I'll never go on too much about Facebook, because the people that you can meet, if you open yourself in the right avenues, it's just incredible. Mark's been doing great work for many years too, and he's such a little ray of light. You know, he's always smiling. He's been through some shit himself, but he's always got a big smile on his face, and you know he's going to give you a message that's going to warm your heart and make you feel better. And he was talking about pure hearts the other day. It was a lovely little video. Shed a tear as usual, which I do quite frequently these days, but there's nothing wrong with that. He was talking about how we judge people on what they do and how we do things sometimes that, without thinking, that can appear really selfish and horrible to others, but we don't really mean it that way. It's something else that's made us act in that way, and it's about us all accepting each other, and instead of acting in a negative, angry way when these things happen, act in the opposite way, and then you will you will instigate a change and a thought pattern within that person that will actually make them see the error of some of the things that they do. Whereas if you react in this over-emotional, aggressive way, it's just going to make them go more the other way, you see? So it's how your energy can so affect everybody around you. And this is so key, because this is how, if you believe in these powers that be, this is how they've been doing it for bloody millennia, affecting the energy of those around them. But the difference is, they know they're doing it, they know exactly how to do it, and to control it, and to feed off it. And that's the secret. That is the secret. So, yes, very much a time to find our role in all of this. And if you do believe that we came here to do a job, and I do think this is all for a reason. We're not just here randomly doing these things. It's been kind of laid out to some extent, but it can never be that laid out, because no one ever knows what choice you're going to make. Only you, and not even you half the time. So you have to identify what your role is. What is it that fires you, impassions you? What is it that you know when you're doing something you love and the hours fly by so quickly and you can't believe where that time's gone, as opposed to the opposite when you're doing something you really hate. You know, it's like when you're waiting for a kettle to boil and you're standing there and it seems to take forever. It's if you do something that you really love, the time just, it's gone. I mean, you could argue that if you do that all the time, your life's going to just go like that, but that's not the way to look at it. But if you can grab your passion by the balls and put everything into it and make something of it, and let's face it again, you know, we get back the people that have been so-called successful in this world, and again, it's how you judge success. If you're judging it by money, well, which you never should, but if for the pretext of this, let's just say we're judging it by the wealthiest people in the world, they're usually people that have followed something they love doing, and because they love doing it so much, they'll put 150% into it. And if they love money, they're going to put 150% into that, and that's why they're loaded. Not necessarily happy, but loaded. So you see how it works. We have to, if you're not impassioned, what's the point? It's like when you're sitting at school through a lesson that you hate, and for me it was like maths, and you're never going to excel at it if it doesn't do that thing inside to you, are you? It's just not going to happen. Whereas if it's a subject that you absolutely love, you're going to put everything into it. If I'd been able to do, say, nature studies at school, God, I probably would have got every A level or whatever level going, because that's always been my passion, and that's what I'm going back to now. So just to end, I want to talk about, I've got 3 decks of tarot cards, right? I'm no great professional. I've never been taught how to do this. I just do it through instinct. And it's no great feat, you know, you're just reading stuff that's written down anyway, but it's just about believing in a process that you go through. And I've got 3 decks. One of them is called Animal Spirit, obviously, that's my most important aspect. The others are the Rorig Tarot card set, which that was actually Mark Bajerski that recommended them, and they are very good. I've got the book on that as well, which explains every card. And the others are actually Mark's Angel cards, which they're great as well. They're very inspirational. They give you a real sort of push when you need it. And so I've got these 3 decks. So what I do is, when I feel I need to give myself a message, I decide on a number, and it's usually the first one that comes to me that means something. My number's always been 3, for whatever reason. 3 is my number. I was born on the 3rd. I've lived at number 12 most of my life. So 3 is my number. And so I decided to go with the 3 this morning, and I just took 3 from each one. And I'm not going to tell you what they all were, but the one that got me, and the message was so key. It couldn't have been more spot on if you'd sort of, you know, spent hours handpicking it for me. I wasn't sure at first because it was from the Animal Spirit deck, and I got the Tarantula, and I thought, ooh, okay. Not quite knowing what I was going to get. That's a fire. It came under the fire signs, which is fitting for me because that's what I am. Blooming spiders rearing their big ugly heads again. And I'm actually going to read out what it says for the Tarantula, because only for the reason that I think it might help others out there that are having a bit of a tough time at the moment. So here we go. First of all, it gives you a little phrase at the top, which is like just a sort of snapshot, and it says, "At a crossroads, claiming life's purpose." That got me right away. And then it goes on to say, "The Tarantula represents a moment when a great decision must be made. It involves prioritizing your life's deeper purpose, or dharma. A habit or routine from the past is sidetracking you from your dream. Yet a voice inside you keeps begging you to refocus your attention in order to find true happiness. You must choose Dharma. Until you do, satisfaction will be fleeting. The tarantula hovers, patient and calm, like an old friend that knows your inner soul. It already knows you'll choose wisely. And then it goes on to say, what the tarantula means when you're in balance is that you follow your intuition. What it means when you're out of balance is that you're hesitating and you're over-intellectualizing. And to bring it into balance, you need daily journaling. When I read that last bit, I thought, well, that's kind of what I'm doing with these in a way. I can't tell you how much. I just looked up and said thank you when I read that. Because it just meant so much, and I get a bit emotional with these things. But we're meant to, it's as long as you can be aware of your emotion and control it to a large extent, it doesn't mean you're not supposed to have it. So I'm going to leave it there. Sorry for ranting on a bit, but this felt stuff I just needed to get out there. So have a lovely week, everybody, and hold on to your hats and try and see it as the game that it is. We're getting rocked so much at the moment. The magic roundabout is just gone into some weird gear and we're all getting hurled around. Try and get to the centre of the circle, okay? Don't hang on that outside bit. Get to the middle and you'll feel a lot better. So bye for now.